From Trucker 6, this is Forecast First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
We've got scattered showers and thunderstorms across mid-Michigan this afternoon. Nothing really severe so far. These storms are generally tracking off towards the east and northeast, but we're watching more closely a line of storms now making its way into the Lake Michigan area. That has a little more potential, so later this evening we'll have to watch out for a severe thunderstorm in the viewing area. Temperatures this afternoon, 87 Lansing, down to 80 in Jackson, 83 in Kalamazoo. For tonight, forecast scattered showers and storms through midnight or so, then those will wind down early tomorrow morning. We've got much cooler and lower humidity air moving in. That and the weekend forecast coming up. 6 News at 5 starts right now.
WLNS is here for you, celebrating 75 years of bringing you the news with 6 News at 5.
Leaders at U of M Health Sparrow hope the old Eastern High School demolition site will soon be helping those struggling with mental health issues. It's our top story at 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jorma Duran. Today, leaders with University of Michigan Health Sparrow announced a partnership with Sheppard Pratt, a behavioral health provider who they say will help them level up their current psychiatric care. Zach Prees is here for you now live with more on this potential big development for mid-Michigan. Good evening, Zach.
Good evening, Jorma. And Sparrow officials say that this could be a huge step forward for their behavioral health services here in the Lansing area. And they say it's something that the area needs, especially for young people.
We currently don't have any child or adolescent psych, both inpatient or outpatient services for this community in terms of immediate hospitalization.
Margaret Diamond, the regional president for the University of Michigan Health Sparrow, announced a new partnership with Sheppard Pratt, a behavioral health provider based in Maryland. They say the provider will be helping them with all their behavioral health services, but Sparrow is especially excited about one potential project. They're waiting on the U of M Board of Regents to approve a brand new facility on the grounds where Old Eastern High School was demolished. And if it does get approved, which could happen in the next few months,
the plan would be to take our current adult services and from the St. Lawrence campus and move psych out of the St. Lawrence campus to this new building.
And unlike that facility, the new campus would accommodate children and adolescents and would increase the bed count by almost 30. Plans for the facility are limited at the time as Sparrow awaits approval, but Diamond says getting children's psychiatric care in Lansing would be a big deal for families.
Many child and adolescent programs require that the family be there on a daily basis, so think about the parents or siblings having to drive to participate in the patient's care plan.
Diamond knows mental health can affect anyone.
You could have an exacerbated depression because you have a sudden death in the family. This will bring care closer to home.
Now, there's no guarantee that the Board of Regents will approve the proposed facility, but if approved, Sparrow hopes to begin operation in 2028 and says that it will have state-of-the-art technology. Back to you.
Zach, thank you very much. A large barn fire led to the closure of Williamston Road near Williamston today. The roadway has since reopened. Police report that there were no injuries. 6 News will provide more details when new information is made available. Michigan State Police confiscated more than $1.8 million worth of cocaine during a traffic stop on Tuesday. Troopers were working at the northbound I-75 way station near Monroe when they say a truck drove past the scales and failed to stop. MSP was able to catch up to the driver and pull him over. They were then given consent to search the vehicle and found 4 U-Haul cardboard boxes with a total of 70 vacuum-sealed packages. Investigators say several of the packages ended up testing positive for cocaine. MSP says the driver denied any knowledge of the drugs. Nevertheless, he was arrested and taken to the Monroe County Jail on a charge of possession with intent to deliver cocaine that's more than 1,000 grams. Republican and former Michigan Speaker of the House, Tom Leonard, who is running for governor, brought his Unleashing Small Business Week agenda to Jackson today. He met with business leaders about his plans to try and make Michigan the best place in America to start a small business. 6 News reporter Sean Graney sat down with him. He's here for you now with what he's trying to do. Good evening, Sean.
Jorma, the DeWitt native Leonard announced his bid for state's top office in June, and he says his campaign is focusing on lowering taxes, growing the state's population, and improving the education system. Leonard says he is zeroing in on tackling big issues in Michigan, such as affordability and property tax reform, while also empowering workers through freedom to work policies. He says boosting third grade reading levels is a top priority, along with addressing the state's growing mental health crisis.
20% of our state's population suffers from some type of mental health issue. Half of them are not getting the treatment that they need. We've got to do something about this mental health crisis, but also this third grade reading crisis. Did you know that less than 40% of the third graders across the state can read at a proficient level? That is our future. If we're going to solve this education crisis that we're in, it starts with the foundation, and that is making certain that our children can read.
Leonard is set to visit Saginaw tomorrow on the next stop of his small business tour and tells me he's taking the Dan Campbell approach in growing the state of Michigan. Jorma, back to you.
Sean, thank you very much. President Trump continues to criticize Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, but says he has no immediate plans to fire him. Erica Brown has the latest, including reaction from Capitol Hill.
During a White House meeting with the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Bahrain, President Trump confirmed CBS News reporting that he discussed firing Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell with Republican lawmakers Tuesday.
I talked about the concept of firing him. I said, what do you think? Almost every one of them said I should.
The president has been hammering Powell for weeks for not lowering interest rates, but said he is not planning to fire him. Federal law says the chair can only be removed for cause, and Trump brought up a renovation project happening at the Fed.
I think it's highly unlikely, unless he has to leave for fraud. I mean, it's possible there's fraud involved with the $2.7 billion renovation.
Here on Capitol Hill, Republican Tom Tillis took to the Senate floor to warn of the fallout if the Fed chairman is removed before his term ends in May.
The consequence of firing a Fed chair just because political people don't agree with that economic decision will be to undermine the credibility of the United States going forward. And I would argue if it happens, you're going to see a pretty immediate response.
President Trump also downplayed the fallout from Republicans who are demanding more transparency regarding the investigation into child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
All it is the Republicans, certain Republicans got duped by the Democrats, and they're following a Democrat playbook.
But calls for the release of the Epstein files are growing after a Justice Department and FBI review found no evidence of a client list or blackmail of powerful figures.
Bottom line, it needs to come out.
Senate lawmakers are working to hold a final vote tonight on a bill to slash about $9 billion in previously approved funding for foreign aid and public broadcasting. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The U.S. House has passed the Promoting United States Wireless Leadership Act. The bipartisan bill was introduced by Michigan Republican lawmaker Tim Walberg and Democratic Representative Debbie Dingell. Walberg's office says the goal is to create a unified approach for 5G networks and future wireless communications networks. He says, quote, we can protect against influence by foreign adversaries and ensure that the next generation of connectivity is built with America's values and economic and security interests in mind. Dingell agrees, saying, quote, we must take concrete proactive steps to lower barriers to entry for U.S. companies and promote American competitiveness. The bill now goes to the Senate for consideration.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
We are watching for some strong to maybe severe showers and thunderstorms, and we've already seen some heavy rain from what storms we've already had. Here's a look at live Storm Tracker 6 Doppler radar. Basically along 127 eastward, being watched because we already had several flash flood warnings. If you get under a couple of these storms in a row, boy, they can really put down quite a bit of rain in excess of 2 inches plus. The lightning tracker fairly active this afternoon. There hasn't really been anything in terms of high winds or large hail, anything like that, but there's quite a bit of lightning just south of Saginaw, and then a cell that's beginning to intensify across portions of Ionia County. In fact, going to look at that storm, you can see the outflow boundary. That's the cool air rushing away from the storm. Underneath this, there's been pretty good growth. This storm extends up to almost 40,000 feet, so it may have a little bit of small hail, but more than anything, it's kind of loading itself up with precipitation. As that comes out, you get some some really gusty winds and some impressive rainfall, 2+ inches per hour possible out of some of these stronger cells. The other area we're watching is to our west over Lake Michigan. That has a little more wind potential with it, so as it moves in later this evening, probably between 9 and 10 o'clock, we'll have a round of storms with some gusty winds. Should be weakening as it moves into mid-Michigan, but still could be strong enough to at least get to those severe limits. It's out of here early tomorrow morning as a cold front moves through. We'll be socked in with clouds and remain that way much of the day, but probably late in the afternoon as high pressure builds in, that'll begin to get rid of some of the clouds and we'll return to partly cloudy skies and much lower humidity. As this high settles over, delightful start temperature-wise today on Friday, falling into the 50s. We'll probably top out in the upper 70s for highs, even with some sunshine on Friday, so it's going to feel absolutely fantastic as we finish out the work week. Muggy meter dew points have been up there today. Those are going to come crashing down with that high pressure system and then go back up a bit over the weekend. Temperatures currently sitting in the 80s for the most part. Skyview Network, really nothing happening on the McLaren cam. Our rainfall total today is still 0. Current temperature at 88 degrees. In Grand Ledge, some clouds nearby, but still dry so far. High temperature made it up to 91 this afternoon. Here's the view on the Jackson cam. Current temperature at 80, 1/1200 of an inch of rainfall with some showers and storms. Dark clouds on the horizon in Hillsdale at 82 degrees, but still not much in the way of rain. Tonight's forecast, low temperature 68 degrees with some scattered storms this evening. Then for tomorrow, lots of cloud cover around till late in the day. Highs only in the 70s tomorrow. The 6-day forecast, we've moved the rain chances primarily to Saturday, it looks like now, and then things will clear out Sunday. Monday and Tuesday look great, but it gets hot again next week with lows near 70, highs in the upper 80s. Some storms Wednesday and again on Friday.
Oh, Saturday is going to be rainy now?
Looks like it's going to be.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't feel too good about it either.